Sometimes it feels like life gets busier, not quieter, as we get older. You would think that after a certain age, people would give us more peace, more space to just be ourselves. But somehow the invitations, the favors, the expectations, they keep piling up. A neighbor wants help with their garden, a family member needs a last-minute babysitter, a friend calls with a favor they can't manage themselves. And before you know it, your day, your energy, and your plans are no longer yours. Setting boundaries isn't just about protecting your time, it's about protecting your well-being, your happiness, and your freedom to live the life you've earned. Yet for so many of us, saying no feels wrong. It stirs up guilt, worry, even fear that we're disappointing someone we care about. But here's the truth, setting healthy boundaries isn't selfish. It's one of the most powerful acts of self-respect you can offer yourself. Today, we're going to walk together through some simple, heart-centered ways you can start saying no without the heavy cloud of guilt hanging over you. These aren't harsh, cold tactics. They're gentle, thoughtful shifts that make it easier to honor your needs while still staying connected to the people you love. Let's ease into it with something very important, understanding that your time and energy are precious, not unlimited. There's a quiet kind of wisdom that comes with age, the realization that you can't give endlessly without running dry. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your needs, you're actually saying no to something that might really matter to you. Maybe it's your quiet afternoon walk. Maybe it's your favorite book waiting for you by the chair. Maybe it's just the gift of resting without rushing to someone else's emergency. The first tip I want to share with you is this: pause before you answer. It sounds so simple, but it's powerful. You don't have to give anyone an immediate yes or no. When someone asks you for something, whether it's your time, your energy, or your help, give yourself a moment. Take a deep breath. It's perfectly okay to say, "Let me think about that and get back to you." That tiny pause is your doorway to freedom. It stops the automatic yes that so many of us are conditioned to give. It gives you the space to check in with yourself. Do I really want to do this? Do I really have the energy for this? Or am I agreeing just because I feel guilty? There's no rush. People can wait a few minutes or a few hours for your thoughtful answer. And when you give yourself that pause, you're teaching others and reminding yourself that your needs matter just as much as theirs. Another important thing to remember is that you don't have to justify your no. Many of us were raised to believe that if we turn someone down, we owe them a detailed explanation, a list of reasons long enough to prove we're not bad people. But you don't. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain that you're tired, that you have other plans, that you're not feeling up to it. You can simply say, "I'm not able to do that," or "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now." Kind, clear, and final. Sometimes, the fear of disappointing others tricks us into over-explaining. We think that if we give enough reasons, people will understand and forgive us. But often, the more we explain, the more room we leave for someone to try and talk us out of our decision. Have you noticed that? You say, "I can't babysit today because I have an appointment," and suddenly you're being asked, "Can you reschedule?" It's just for an hour. But when you simply say, "I'm sorry, I'm not available," there's not much left to argue with. It's respectful. It's firm. And it leaves you feeling strong, not drained. Now, I know that even hearing this might stir up a little anxiety. It's one thing to know you don't have to explain yourself. It's another thing to feel okay about it. So here's something that helps. Remind yourself that saying no doesn't mean you don't care about the person asking. It simply means you are caring for yourself too. Protecting your time and energy allows you to show up better and more lovingly in the moments when you do say yes. You're not building walls. You're tending to the garden of your life, making sure it doesn't get overrun by weeds you didn't plant or water you didn't plan to spill. And the people who truly care about you, really care about you, will understand that. Before we move forward, take a moment to think about a recent time when you said yes to something you really didn't want to do. Maybe it was agreeing to host a gathering when you were exhausted, or helping someone with a project when you needed rest. How did that feel afterward? Heavy? Draining? A little resentful? Even if you didn't show it? You deserve better than that feeling. You deserve days filled with what matters most to you, not crammed with obligations that leave you feeling empty. Now that we've started laying that foundation, let's keep building on it together. That kind of self-reflection, the moment you look back and realize you gave away your time out of guilt instead of choice, isn't meant to make you feel bad. It's meant to give you power. Because every time you recognize it, you get one step closer to changing it. And the next time someone asks you for something, you'll be more aware of that small voice inside you saying, I don't really want to do this. That voice is important. It's not selfish. It's your wisdom. Let's talk about that third tip, which is a true game changer. Practice saying no in small, low-pressure situations. Think of it like building a muscle. You don't start with the heaviest weight in the gym. You begin with something light, something manageable. It's the same with boundaries. Try saying no when someone offers you something you don't really want, like an extra slice of cake when you're full, or an invitation to an event you're not excited about. These small moments give you the confidence to say no in bigger, more emotionally charged situations later on. Let's say a friend invites you to a weekly club meeting, but you already feel overcommit. Instead of stretching yourself thin again, you can say, I really appreciate the invitation, but I have to pass this time. Or maybe someone asks for a favor that would disrupt your quiet weekend. You can respond with, I'm focusing on rest this weekend, so I won't be able to help out. The more you do this in little ways, the more natural it becomes. And over time, your no will come from a place of calm certainty, not fear or guilt. Here's another thing I want to share, something that can feel especially tricky. Not everyone will like your boundaries, and that's okay. This might be one of the hardest parts of learning to say no. You're kind. You care deeply. You spent most of your life being the dependable one, the one who says yes, the one who shows up. So when someone pushes back, gets frustrated, acts disappointed, or even tries to guilt you, it can feel like a punch to the heart. But that discomfort, it doesn't mean you did something wrong. It often just means you did something different, something unfamiliar. People who have gotten used to your automatic yes might not know how to respond when you begin setting boundaries. Some might push back out of habit, not malice. But here's the truth. When someone reacts negatively to your healthy boundary, it often says more about their expectations than your actions. And you're not responsible for managing other people's feelings about your needs. That's a tough one, I know. But repeat it to yourself when you need to. I'm not responsible for how others react to my boundaries. You are only responsible for honoring your needs with kindness and clarity. And remember, some people will respect you even more when you begin to draw those lines. They'll admire your self-awareness, your courage, your honesty. You might even inspire others to start protecting their own energy too. Boundaries have a beautiful ripple effect when they come from a place of love, not control. Now let's lean into a softer but just as powerful mindset shift. You're not saying no to the person, you're saying yes to yourself. That's worth repeating. Every time you say no to something that drains you, overwhelms you, doesn't fit into your values or priorities, you're actually saying yes to something better. Maybe it's your health, your peace of mind, your creativity, your time with someone you do want to spend time with, your solitude, your nap. So often we're afraid that saying no means shutting people out or rejecting them. But really, it's a form of clarity. It tells the world, this is who I am, this is what I need, and I value myself enough to honor that. And when you get comfortable with that truth, your no becomes something graceful. Not harsh, not defensive, just honest. And people feel that. It shifts the energy of the conversation. Let me share something I heard a while ago that stayed with me. When you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. Think about that. If you don't protect your time, your energy, your peace, someone else will come along and fill it up for you. And not necessarily in a way that serves your joy or purpose. You've lived enough years to know what matters. And every yes you give should feel like it's in alignment with that wisdom, not fighting against it. So far, we've talked about pausing before you say yes, not over-explaining yourself, practicing in small ways, allowing discomfort, and shifting your mindset from rejection to self-care. Each of these helps build that quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't shout, but doesn't shrink either. It just stands. Let's keep going, because we're not quite done yet. It just stands. And that quiet confidence is what gives you the freedom to live more intentionally, more peacefully, and more in alignment with what truly matters to you. Now let's wrap this up with one last insight, one that ties everything together and carries the deepest emotional weight. You don't need to earn your rest, your space, or your peace. You don't have to justify needing a break. You don't have to prove that you've done enough before you get to reclaim your time. That belief that you must constantly be useful or available to be worthy is something many of us absorbed over a lifetime. But it's not true. Not anymore. And really, it never was. You've given. You've helped. You've shown up. And now you have full permission to protect your time and energy simply because you are a human being who deserves that care. Boundaries aren't about walls or isolation. They're about honoring your limits so that what's inside of you, your health, your joy, your love, doesn't get depleted. Saying no when you need to isn't selfish. It's responsible. It's loving. It's sustainable. If someone you love came to you, tired and worn out, and said, "I just can't keep doing everything for everyone," you wouldn't tell them to keep pushing. You'd probably tell them to take a breath, get some rest, and stop stretching themselves so thin. So why not offer yourself that same compassion? This journey isn't about becoming someone who always says no. It's about becoming someone who says yes when they mean it and no when they need to. It's about living with more honesty, not just with others, but with yourself. When you say yes only when it's aligned with your values, you give that yes so much more power. And when you say no with grace and certainty, you teach people how to treat you, with respect, not assumption. You might notice that the more you practice boundaries, the clearer your relationships become. Some people may drift away. Others might grow closer. Some may resist at first, but grow to respect you more in the long run. And more importantly, you'll begin to feel that you're showing up for others not from pressure, but from presence. That's a huge difference. So here's what I want you to carry with you after watching this. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to disappoint someone in order to protect your well-being. You are allowed to say no without guilt. That's not just a skill, it's a form of emotional freedom. And it's one that becomes even more precious as we get older, when energy isn't endless and time feels more sacred. Think about this week ahead. What's one area where you can practice a small no that creates a bigger yes in your life? Maybe you decline an event and instead spend that evening reading or walking in nature. Maybe you tell your grown children, "I love you, but I won't be available this weekend." Maybe you let a phone call go to voicemail and take your nap instead. It doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. Boundaries often work best when they're steady, simple, and clear. The goal isn't to become harder, it's to become softer with yourself. To move through life with more ease and less resentment. And each time you honor your limits, you send a message not only to the world, but to your own heart. I matter too. If any part of this conversation resonated with you, take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what boundary you're learning to set or what guilt you're learning to let go of. We're building a community here, one where wisdom, honesty, and kindness guide the way. And if this video gave you even a small dose of clarity or peace, consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. It helps us reach more people who need to hear this kind of message, and it keeps you in the loop for more uplifting, empowering content just like this. No matter where you are in life, remember this. It's never too late to choose yourself. It's never too late to protect your peace. And it's never too late to say no with love, without guilt, and without apology. Here's to living your most grounded, joyful, and honest life at any age.